to building safety to try and resolve Britain's cladding crisis. £3.5 billion fund, which will strip cladding from blocks over 18 metres. But if you've got a flat in one of the 80,000 medium-rise apartment blocks in this country that are between 11 and 18 metres, you will only be offered a loan to remove the cladding. Let's speak to Liam Spender, a solicitor who lives near Canary Wharf and lives in a building with cladding on it. Liam, welcome to the programme.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Just describe your flat. I understand you are sub 18 metres, aren't you? So you were looking at a loan here.
That's right, yes. My building is about 14 metres, 5 stories.
Right.
So I'm affected by the loan.
Yeah, and how's that going to work for you, or won't it?
I don't know how it's going to pan out at the moment. The issue with my building is it has high pressure laminate, HPL cladding, which has actually passed, in inverted commas, the EWS1 inspection process with a B1 rating, but the managing agent is insisting on doing the works anyway on the basis that it's a health and safety issue. But we don't have any details as to cost, when the works are going to start, if the works are going to go ahead at all. It's left us all in limbo.
Okay. I'll come back to the managing agents then in a moment, but imagine that they hadn't said that. What position would you be in terms of, say, resale, for example, or getting a mortgage and renewing a mortgage?
In terms of resale, I don't know if it's COVID related or if it's because everyone's taken fright at what's been said about cladding, but sales where I live have ground to a halt, and I have heard my neighbours tell me when they've come to remortgage they can't change lender because some lenders they send a surveyor out to value the properties. He sees this cladding on the top floor and he just leaves and says, I can't do it, the bank won't take it, we don't lend on properties with cladding.
So do they end up then still being able to secure a deal, but perhaps not as good a deal as if they were able to shop around, or do they have to go onto the standard variable rate?
As far as I know, my neighbours have managed to get deals, but they've been much more expensive. Not quite standard variable rate, just not the deal they want.
Sure. So going back to the managing agents then, is it a good thing that they're insisting on doing this? Because eventually you will then be in a property without cladding that will restrict your resale and your mortgage issues, won't you?
You might look at it that way. That's certainly the way they look at it. But the way I look at it is based on what Robert Jenrick said today. I could be looking at a loan of between £14,500 and £24,000, depending on the interest rate and the term. Those are the figures for a 1.5 interest rate of between 30 and 60 years. So that's, I think anyone looking at a flat with that size loan attached to it is going to discount the price accordingly. Which obviously leaves me with a problem. It's worth a lot less than I paid for it. I'm not quite in the position of being in negative equity on those numbers, but it's wiped out any gain I've made after 2 years of mortgage payments.
Yeah, and you used a phrase there. You said that the loan would be attached to the property rather than to you.
That's what I understood from the announcement. So with my legal spectacles on, if I can put it that way,
sure.
It seems to be what the government's saying is they will pass a law that caps repayments at £50 and rewrites the leases. So what a lawyer would call implies a term that the loan will be repayable through the service charge. I think that's how they intend to collect the money.
Yeah, I'm just reading here that it will be capped at £50 a month, and the costs will be inherited by anyone purchasing the flat. The Times has calculated it would take 66 years to pay off the average £40,000 debt interest free. And estate agents have warned residents will then therefore struggle to find buyers. Or if you do find a buyer, you'll have to accept, as you said, a heavily discounted price. So has this helped you at all in any way today, or do you just still feel like a hostage in your own home?
In a word, no. It's not helped me at all. I mean, it's what I was expecting from the campaigning work I've been doing with the Leasehold Knowledge Partnership. I've been working on their alternative industry levy proposal, but no help for my personal financial situation. The good side is I'm happy where I am. I don't need to sell, but a lot of people are not in that fortunate position.
No, and also the thing about life is that you don't know. You don't need to sell right now, but you don't know what's down the track, do you?
Exactly, and it could be a problem if, say, I wanted to take up an opportunity abroad or even in a different part of the country. I may be left with something I can't move at an acceptable price, or perhaps not at all.
How long has this been going on for you then? Because you said you've been campaigning on it, and how are you managing the stress involved in having this issue over your home?
I mean, stress-wise, it's not too bad. I'm used to the law and things taking a long time to resolve. I can't say it's not a worry for the reasons we've just been talking about, but not too bad so far. I've been working with the Leasehold Knowledge Partnership since December on their alternative levy proposal, and it's been going on in relation to the flat I live in since roughly last May. So not nearly as bad as some, but still an issue of concern for me.
I'm told the cladding in your specific building is only on one floor. It's at the top. However, that's the floor you live on. Is that right?
That's right. Yes. So it's the buildings. There are about 9 buildings on the development I live on. Some are over 18 metres. Some, like mine, are below. But the cladding's only on one floor. So the thing I've never understood is how cladding on one floor, they haven't identified any problems you hear about in other buildings where the internal separation, the compartmentation is wrong. That doesn't seem to be the case here. So I don't understand why it's a risk that would justify spending an enormous amount of money to address.
From the managing agent's perspective, from what they've said to you and why they still want to push ahead despite the safety rating, that's what you mean?
I mean, I appreciate the managing agent owes a legal duty to keep us all safe. I suspect it's an opportunity to cover themselves legally. If they take all the cladding off, the risk for them reduces to zero, and it's at someone else's expense. And there's a kicker, a sweetener for them. They can charge a project management fee on top. I'm told that could be something like 15% of the cost. So they're actually going to have the opportunity to make money out of it.
Right. If Robert Jenrick's listening, and he does appear on Times Radio a lot, what would you like to say to him?
Please reconsider, Mr. Jenrick. The proposal you've come up with is terrible. It leaves me with 100% of the bill. In the best case scenario, it leaves leaseholders with more than half the bill in buildings above 18 metres. This is wrong. It's unjust. It's unprincipled. It's unfair. Please go back to the drawing board.
Thank you very much for talking to me. And I'm sure you're aware, are you, of the Sunday Times hidden housing campaign as well? You're across that already?
Absolutely, and I think Martina Lees and all her colleagues at the Sunday Times have done an excellent job. I'm really grateful for the coverage.
Great. Thank you for coming on the programme tonight. I wish you well with the next few months. That's Liam Spender, solicitor who lives near Canary Wharf, who lives in a building with cladding which is sub 18 metres, which, as you heard him say there, means he personally will be footing the bill to get this cladding removed from the top floor of the building where his apartment is.